Hi, I'm Will Cullen, and welcome to The Open Book. Today we're talking about William Golding's book, Lord of the Flies, in which a group of boys get stranded on an island. However, some boys become savage, and it quickly becomes a fight to survive. Today we have some appearances from survivors like Juana Maria and Ada Blackjack, who had to survive just like the boys had to survive in Lord of the Flies. With us first is Ada Blackjack, who survived by hunting, like Jack and the Hunters.
Nice to be here. As Will said, my name's Ada Blackjack, and I'm the Inuit woman who survived 2 years in Siberia.
So what's your story? How did you possibly survive that?
Well, you see, I was hired on a journey to claim Wrangell Island for Canada because I really need to raise money for my poor son Bennett, who is sick with tuberculosis.
How exactly did that go?
Well, my crew is inexperienced, and we ran out of rations pretty quickly, and since nobody in my crew could hunt, 3 of the 4 other people on the crew tried to cross a frozen sea to land.
I have a bad feeling about that.
And your feeling is right. Those 3 men never came back, leaving me with a salty man named Lorne Knight who is afflicted with scurvy. I had to become very resourceful, setting traps, and I became quite the impressive gunwoman. I still cared for the ungrateful Lorne and myself up until Lorne's death in 1923.
So, were you ever scared that you might die?
Yes, I even wrote in my journal that if anything happened to me and my death is known, there's a black strip for Bennett's school book bag for my only son. I wish if you please take everything to Bennett that has belonged to me. I don't know how much I'd be glad to get back to folks. Of course, I wasn't the best English speaker at the time.
So how did you get out of this situation?
I was rescued by the former head of expedition, Vildemar Stephenson.
Well, that's certainly a great survival story. What about your son?
Yes, I took my son Bennett to Seattle and has tuberculosis cured. I eventually had another son named Billy.
So, given all the experiences, did you ever return to the Arctic?
In fact, I did. After I had Billy, I actually returned to the Arctic for my rest of my life. I lived to be 85 years old, which was an amazing feat of that time.
How interesting. Thanks for coming in, Ada.
Thanks for having me.
Next, we interview Juana Maria, who survived on an island, just like the boys in Lord of the Flies. Welcome. So, you're Juana Maria, also known as the Lone Woman of San Nicolas Island.
Nice to be here, and yes.
So, how are you stranded?
Well, after otter hunters invaded my tribe at San Nicolas Island, the island was evacuated. Everyone left except for me. I lived alone for 18 years.
How did you survive? What did you eat?
Actually, when I was found, I'd been eating dried seal blubber, and I lived in a whalebone hut.
And I thought it was hard to eat the same thing twice.
Well, that wouldn't work at all. Anyways, after I was found, I was taken to the Santa Barbara mission, and I was totally fascinated by everything there. Clothing, food, horses, and Europeans were all new to me.
So what ended up happening to you?
Sadly, I got a pretty bad case of dysentery only 7 weeks after being relocated. I don't get a happy ending like Ada.
That's horrible, especially after everything that you'd lived through.
Yeah, for sure. I guess that's it for the interviews. I just want to give a quick thank you to Ada and Juana for these impressive survival stories.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll be discussing being stranded in pop culture.
Are you a bacon fanatic looking for something to enjoy your taste buds? Now at McDonald's is the Grand McExtreme Bacon Burger. Topped with thick-cut applewood smoked bacon, smoky McBacon sauce, Gouda, and onions. It will leave your mouth watering. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Planet Fitness. Now a special joint for just $1 down and $10 a month. That's right, $1 down and just $10 a month. No contracts, no fees, just fitness. Planet Fitness.
Welcome back to The Open Book. Before the break, we talked to Juana Maria and Ada Blackjack, 2 women survivors. Now we're going to talk about some books and movies. First, we've got Bryannah Torrez, a movie critic, talking about The Hunger Games. Caution, there are some spoilers ahead.
Thanks for having me. So for you guys who haven't seen The Hunger Games, it's about a girl named Katniss Everdeen who lives in District 12, one out of the 12 districts governed by the capital. Every year, 1 boy and 1 girl from each district is selected, and they must not only survive in the arena, but they also must be the last person standing in order to win. Katniss is selected to compete in these games and goes into the arena.
Wow, anyone who goes into the arena must be a true survivor to make it out.
Precisely. Katniss knows how to hunt, make traps, and she can shoot a bow and arrow with deadly precision. Skills like these will help her to survive in the arena.
Wow, so you're saying that if someone has survival skills, then they can survive?
Well, not exactly. You can have all the skills in the world, but if you don't want to survive or you don't have any drive, then your survival rate plummets. It takes a person with determination and drive to survive.
Did Katniss have that drive? I mean, it's one thing to just want to live, but did Katniss have something to live for?
Yes, Katniss needed to get back to her sister Prim. Prim was selected to fight in the arena, but Katniss volunteered so that Prim wouldn't have to. Now Katniss must survive the arena and go back home to Prim.
So, obviously people in the arena had to fight, right?
Yes, it was pretty much a fight to the death. The last survivor wins.
This actually kind of reminds me of Lord of the Flies, with boys fighting to survive. Well, except instead of an arena, the boys are on an island, and it wasn't always a fight to the death. Are there also survivors in books? To answer this question, we have Abigail Hiens, a book critic.
Hello, and thank you for having me. So, Lord of the Flies is a book by William Golding, and it's about a group of boys who are ranging in age from about 6 to 13 who are being evacuated from a boarding school in Britain. However, the boys' plane crashes before they can make it to their destination, and the boys are left stranded on an island without any adults or any hope for rescue. Ralph, one of the boys, begins to establish civilization. However, belief of a beast soon disturbs the playful fun of the island, and the boys begin to believe that their island isn't a good island. Ralph desperately tries to reestablish order, but the boys, led by Jack, become wilder and more savage, putting Ralph on the run while he tries to signal for help and not get caught.
That sounds like a really intriguing book. Ralph sounds like a natural-born survivor, eh?
Some may say that, and I can see why. Ralph is building shelters and gathering coconuts for fresh water. However, Jack's also quite the survivor, as he's the only boy who is totally focused on finding food without stopping for leisure.
So what are you saying here?
I guess I'm saying that there are multiple ways to be a survivor. You can hunt or you can grow food. You could even do both. You could set up shelter and focus on safety, or focus on getting off the island. You know, there's no one type of survivor, and that's why I feel Lord of the Flies is such an impactful book. Because it not only explores these options, but it presses young and innocent boys to make these decisions, and other decisions that get wilder and crazier throughout the book.
How do these decisions get wilder and crazier?
Well, according to page 105, the boys chant, "Kill the pig, cut her throat, bash it in," as most of the boys circle around another boy in some sort of war dance.
That sounds like quite the experience. Thank you for coming by, and Lord of the Flies sounds like a very interesting book. How would you survive, alone or with a group? Up next after this break.
You know those nights you have school or work tomorrow and just can't sleep? Don't fret, because there's a solution. Introducing Headspace. Featured on The Today Show, it's the latest and greatest meditation app with tips to help you sleep, guided meditation, and more. Sign up now and get a 10-day free trial.
I've got proof.
Proof of less joint pain and clearer skin.
Proof that I can fight psoriatic arthritis with Humira.
Humira targets joint pain and skin symptoms of psoriatic arthritis. Symptoms include injection site redness, swelling, itching, bruising, headaches, rash, nausea, and back pain. Stop taking and call your doctor right away if you experience numbness or tingling, vision problems, weakness in legs, chest pain, shortness of breath, new joint pain, hives, itching, swelling of the face, feet, ankles, or lower legs, rash, trouble breathing or swallowing, fever, sore throat, other signs of infection, unusual breathing, pale skin, dizziness, or red scaly patches or raised pus-filled bumps.
Get less joint pain and clearer skin now with Humira.
Welcome to The Open Book. Before the break, we were talking about survivors in books and movies. And now join us for our debate, stranded alone or together? First, we have Abigail, who believes being stranded alone is better than being together.
Hey guys, as Will said, I do believe that being stranded alone is the way to go.
Now we have our second debater, Bryannah, who would rather be stranded together than alone.
Hey, as you heard, I'm on the side of being stranded together rather than alone.
Well then, let's get this debate started. Abigail, I guess you can start.
Well, if you're stranded alone, then you've got nobody else except for yourself to be responsible for.
But if you don't have the help of others, you don't have all the skills required, then you're out of luck.
That's true, but what's to say the others don't start fighting? There's no hierarchy that can be enforced. If one person doesn't do their job, then nobody will, like in Lord of the Flies.
Even though there's no authority figure in Lord of the Flies and their attempt at civilization fails, the kids who were able to hunt and create shelters lasted a decent amount of time.
So, are you saying that if a group of kids can hunt and create shelters, then they'll automatically survive?
Not necessarily. They all have drives and a leader that is determined to survive.
You mean Ralph, the same boy who all the boys turned on and set the island on fire to try and kill him, Ralph?
Yes, that Ralph, the one who took the lead and kept the boys in shape while teaching them how to work together and balance time.
And what's an example of this? When Ralph and Simon were building shelters and all the other boys ran off to play, when Ralph taught the boys how to keep a fire burning, but they almost burned everything down and likely killed a little boy in that fire, and later lit that fire up multiple times.
Although this ended up happening, Ralph was able to get in the boys' head that if they didn't keep the fire going, then they were gonna die. Ralph taught them about the fire, saying on page 187 that they could find out how to make a small hot fire and then put green branches on it to make smoke.
So the boys actually got found on the island because they burned the whole forest down to try and kill Ralph, or at least drive him out so that the rest of the boys could kill him.
But who was the one that taught them how to keep a large fire going and how to find the right wood for that fire? Ralph did.
But no matter what Ralph did, the other boys killed Piggy and Simon. The boys were so mad and such fever on page 219 that they surged after the beast, poured down the rock, leapt onto the beast, screamed, struck, bit, tore. There were no words and no movement but the tearing of teeth and claws. However, this wasn't the beast. It was Simon, one of the boys. The boys were so savage that they couldn't see this. Had Ralph been alone, he could have hunted and kept the fire going and would have been rescued eventually, without all the drama and without the gruesome deaths of Piggy and Simon.
I do agree that it would have been easier for Ralph, but having a large group allowed for the boys to find the people they fit in with, and once they found this group, life became easier.
You both had great points, but I really can't pick a side. I agree that being alone causes less problems, but being together allows for more assistance when it comes to difficult tasks. Thank you all for tuning into The Open Book. Remember, you can send in your suggestions for our next debate. Thank you for listening, and remember, keep reading. See you all next time.